So glad you guys are all here. Rob and I wanted you here to say this and say this right now.
Yeah.
Thanks for a great weekend, everybody.
Appreciate it, everybody.
Bye-bye. Good night. And awesome. You're the best. Oh crap, I guess we'll do something else. We'll tack on one more thing. One more thing we'll tack on to this Saturday. Should we? All right, fine. Ladies and gentlemen, not since World War I has the trench coat been more popular. Thanks to this man, it's Misha Collins.
Starting to forget.
Yeah, I had just started to get over the trauma of recently having had a birthday, and you had to go rub my nose in it. Thanks a lot. We feels like we just saw each other. We did a convention last weekend. We did a convention last weekend, and in Denver, and then there were really bad forest fires up in BC causing lots of smoke in the Pacific Northwest, so I never went home. So I'm still wearing the same clothes that I was wearing last weekend.
Where did you stay?
And I might never change.
I think you're going to say, I might never go back.
Where did you stay in the interim?
All over the place, man. I've been all over the place.
He's been everywhere.
We've been sleeping in boxcars, in old railway depots, and it's been nice.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Really, really fun.
What about you guys? Did you go home?
For 24 hours.
Great.
Landed, I went,
and then you just have to touch the...
Yeah, it's like some kind of relay where you just touch the door and run back to the airport.
Just enough time to remind my kids who I am.
You're so OCD that you have to go home for 24 hours and then you can go back out.
So did you make it a week-long birthday celebration? Is that what you did? Was it just you?
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Good. You told the other hobos it was your birthday down there. Sing it to me again, guys. All right. We're getting off the stage so you can enjoy this, man.
Thank God. I thought that was never going to end. I'm so sorry they took up our valuable time. So lovely to be in North Carolina. How many of you, by a show of screams, are from North Carolina? I spent a lovely summer in Lexington, North Carolina. Did you know that? Did you know that about me? Did you know that we had this point of congruity between us? My girlfriend at the time, wife now, was writing her BA thesis on. She was an anthropology major, and she was writing an ethnography of a trailer park.
Perfect spot.
Really. So we moved into a trailer park in Lexington, North Carolina. And immediately took in a stray dog named, aptly by us, Fancy. Fancy was covered in fleas, and we couldn't get the fleas out. And our trailer was very inexpensive. And so the bathtub had fallen through the floor. And we didn't want the other residents of the trailer park to think that we were like these fancy college students. So I got a job at PPG Fiberglass Factory, which was awesome. It was as good as it sounds. How many of you work at the PPG fiberglass plant? Good, so we can speak honestly about it. It was as bad as it sounds. And yeah, so but I was remembering that because this morning I went for a run and I nearly died because it's so hot and humid here, and it was, and I remember that distinctly. It was like this sense, it gets worse. I know, it's kind of summer here. I was just telling you. But I love, in the green room right now, we have a pitcher of sweet tea and a pitcher of unsweet tea. And I love that choice every time. It's like, what do I want? Sweet?
You don't hear no half and half, do you?
Wow, you're a divided state, aren't you? What portion of you is sweet versus unsweet? Everyone raised their hands. I love that. This is not how to conduct a survey, folks. I was remembering, I had gone on a run. We had this really shitty 1980 Chevy Citation hatchback. And the Chevy Citation is an incredible car because it's a hatchback, but it's a V8. So it burned an enormous amount of fuel, and the engine was so big that when you turned the ignition off, it kept running. Like this car would just be like, dum, 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 for a minute after you turned it off. And I drove to this park to go for a run, and I parked, I went for the run, and it was like sunset, it was beautiful, and I was covered in sweat, and then I went to leave, and the park had closed, and they had put the gate up over the road, and I couldn't get out, but I gauged, I was like, I think there's enough space between that oak tree and the gate for me to squeeze the Citation around the gate. And there wasn't quite enough space. And so I squeezed it through, scraping both sides the whole way, and it condensed the car by about 2 inches and took off both mirrors and broke the side windows, but I was like, it's okay. It's fine, everything's fine. So those are some of my fond memories, and then oh God, we have this, I'm sorry, I'm just ranting and I'll stop soon, and I know that you guys have important things you want to talk about. But I was remembering being doing our ethnography, and we were recording video, and I can't remember how we explained it, but we would go over to the neighbor's trailer and record video, and people would just like let us record their evening dinner, where they would get into fights with each other and throw things at each other. And then be like, Misha, get in the car, you're going to drive me to go get some beer, because his license had been suspended for driving drunk. It was a really great summer. I loved it. I'm going to be taking my kids back east to do like a little memory lane tour of all of the places that were important to me in my childhood. So I'm going to take them to like Cuskers Market, and the Bridge of Flowers, and Berkshire East, and maybe even up, Highway 8 and Route 2 and all that. I think it should be nice. Try to see if we can find Shannon the horse. I think Shannon is probably, if we're being honest, gonna be hard to find. Yeah. All right. I don't have anything else to tell you. Do you want to ask a question? We have this very traditional format where people ask questions and then.
Well, I can come up and sit down and we can talk.
You would like to sit? You would like to sit up here and ask the question?
Sure.
Okay, come on up. Oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, please have a seat. And please, everyone, no upskirt photos, please. Oh. You handled that quite deftly. Well done, well played. I really was thinking, I don't know how she's going to solve this problem. And crossing the legs never occurred to me. Foiled again. How are you? Oh,
Happy birthday.
thank you. Where are you from?
From the Concord area, Concord, North Carolina.
Great. How far is that from here?
About 3 miles up the road.
Are we in Concord right now? Okay, so that sort of made me look stupid. You have a barn?
We have a barn in our basement, so if you want to come for a drink later,
A bar, not a barn.
Barn, no animals, no.
No horses named Shannon.
No, but my husband is from West Virginia, so.
Oh, so he may have had relations with a horse at some point. You sometimes like walk around with him and it's like, oh, let's see those stables, that's my ex over there. You have an ex?
I do have an ex. How'd you know that?
I'm sorry, I know more about you than you think. Did you have a question?
I did. I wanted to say it's a big treat. You are my daughter's favorite character. And
So you're 1 degree of separation from actually liking me. That's pretty awesome.
close, yeah. She refers to you as her spirit animal. So just wanted to share that.
Oh, it's good that we brought this back to livestock again.
That's true. I didn't think about that. I'm very impressed by the work that you do through your charity with the Random Acts. And I think you could raise a lot of money if you could swing it to make like a grand prize that whoever does fill in the blank, contributions, whatever, that they get to be like a guest appearance as a fan on the show.
That's a good idea. So we could basically pimp out the acting roles on the show.
Everything, if you just did that, this whole room, like everybody would want to be on the show.
That's a great idea. We could be like the first on-air prostitution racket.
Legal.
Legal, yeah, sure. Obviously, we'd have to move operations to Nevada, but all right. Well, that's a great idea. You know, we actually did that once.
Well, my question sucks then.
No. Your question is great. It's derivative, but very good. We did or Jared and Jensen really did something in the Austin area. They did a fundraiser, and then the woman who gave the most, she got to come and be on the show. And she was really quite good. She was actually better than any of the other professional actors. And so we decided to stop doing that because it was making us look bad. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
I think you could accomplish a lot doing that, and you have proven that you have a very global consciousness, and I think it would be an awesome thing to do.
well, that is very kind of you to say. Thank you very much. Thank you. It was lovely talking to you. We have people, by the way, watching on the internet right now. Some of my favorite people are what you guys are also some of my favorite people are watching on the internet right now. Where's the camera? Can you even see us from back there? Are we just like little tiny dots on the horizon? Seriously, how big are we on that? Well, now, obviously I'm big because I'm standing right in front of the camera. This is going to be very frustrating because every time I try to turn around, I just see the back of my head. Hello, people on the internet. What? Oh, if I do it fast, I can run. Unfortunately, it takes my eyes a second to get focus because I'm old now. That didn't work. Lovely to see you, or to have you see me more accurately. Okay. Oh, and if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, we can answer them. It's not actually true. Hey, come on. Stop. Wait, what the fuck? Why did you get off the stage? I didn't tell you you could get off the stage. Who told you to leave? Ridiculous. Okay, now you can leave. Thank you. And do you have a question?
Hi, Misha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm pretty well as well. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. All right, the question I have, and I apologize if you've had it before, is have you ever received a script that you've read and thought my character would never say that or do that and felt the need to argue the point?
And felt compelled to argue the point?
Yes.
Yes, of course I have.
Would you expand on that, please?
I have specifically in the past been asked not to talk about things that got changed between first draft and what the final product is. Thank you for helping me talk. It's not my strong suit. So I won't talk about things that we ruminated on that might have been important to the storyline that we then changed in a dialogue between actors and writers. The writers on Supernatural don't so much value our opinions as they just want us to leave them alone. So sometimes they'll make changes to make us shut up, knowing that they can cut that out in the edit. Yeah, it's how people handle belligerent children or something. Yeah. But there was one early on. It was season 5. There was a scene where Cass sits on a whoopee cushion, and I was just like, this is so stupid. This is so juvenile. And it's so stupid. It ruins the whole scene. There's like a substantive scene here, and then Cass sits on the whoopee cushion, and it doesn't make any sense. And also, angels don't fart. And so Jared and Jensen were like, oh, yeah, whatever. You know, they'd been on the show long enough that they didn't care about anything anymore. But anyway, we called Eric, who's down in LA, and he was the show creator, showrunner at the time, and pled the case. Like, come on, this is ridiculous. And I fought for like 15 minutes, and the whole crew was like, oh my God, I can't believe they added this guy to the show. And Eric held his ground. He was like, no, it's important to the scene that Cass sits on the whoopee cushion. You'll see, it'll be funny. Which it was. It was actually a great element in the scene. So it proved to me that my opinion doesn't matter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Shaya.
Hi, Shaya. How are you?
So my question is, now that Jensen's kind of off doing his Michael thing, how has the dynamic between you and Jared changed on set, and how much more does he screw with you now? That Jensen's not like, well, they're also screw with you, but kind of protective from him.
I wouldn't characterize Jensen as a protector in any way. Things are actually at their worst when they're both there. They feed off of one another's malice.
So do you think you're safer now that it's really most
Safe is
here?
not a word that I would apply to the workplace environment. Yeah. I mean, I've told this story before. When was the last time I told it? Anybody remember about the episode My Bloody Valentine? Has it been like a couple of weeks at least? Okay.
In a while.
What? Tell it again? Thank you. Now I'm feeling safe. So we had this scene, I think this was also maybe season 4 or 5, or kind of early on. And the way it works is the director is in another room. So the director is looking at the monitors and can't see what's going on. They can only see what the camera sees, which is sometimes not the full picture. And there was this scene where we were in a morgue, and I cross the room and I come up to this stainless steel gurney, and Jared is standing here and Jensen is standing there facing me, and I deliver my dialogue as I'm walking across the room. I say blah 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 blah, and then I get up to the gurney and I stand there, and in the first take that we did, Jared had a broom in his hand and he just tickled my balls under the table. Just a little bit. But it was just the right amount that I started laughing, which is sort of my weird thing that I do when someone tickles my balls with a broom. And the director's like, hey, Misha, come on, pull it together, because the director can't see the fucking broom under the table. And so we did another take, and I come over and get up there, and Jared is also flexible and has long legs, and so he just put his foot in my crotch, and again I laughed, and again I got reprimanded by the director, and so we go in for the third take, and Jensen says, Misha, just stand over closer to me, and don't look at Jared, just deliver the line to me. And I was like, thank you. And so I go up, and I don't want to laugh, right? I want to not get yelled at by the director again. And I get up there and I deliver my line straight into Jensen's eyes, and he goes,
Why don't you just grab the broom and fondle Jared back? I mean,
you know,
he
hindsight's
deserves it, right?
20/20. Anyway, thanks for asking.
Hi, Misha. I'm Ashley. My question was, as a Buddhist and myself as someone who studies as well, has it influenced your acting, and has it influenced Castiel anyway in terms of you play him maybe kinder than most of the other angels?
So you mentioning that Buddhism, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a Buddhist, but I do practice like a sort of Buddhist meditation. And I do think that has influenced my performance. Because Castiel more or less comes across as just asleep all the time. Just, devoid of any emotions, catatonic, almost like in a meditative state. So I credit that work that I've done on myself with being able to bring a character to the screen who has no emotion whatsoever. There's something in your body language that's telling me that you were expecting more. But you're not going to get it. This has been very awkward.
You're doing great.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi, Misha. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
We hate that we missed you at karaoke. You know, you couldn't quite make it, but if you'd come last night, you know that, the unofficial theme song for Supernatural is
Can I just tell you that
it's Carry On My Wayward Son.
I know that about Carry On My Wayward Son and Supernatural. I also have to tell you that I hate karaoke. And you know, I've discussed this with friends recently. They do too. Everyone, I don't know what it is, but I actually get more anxiety around karaoke than just about anything else in my life. Like I used to be really, as a young person, I was really terrified of nuclear holocaust. But now it's karaoke. It's yeah. So yeah, no, I wasn't there. That's true. But I've also never been there.
But that's not my question.
Okay.
But since you can't be there and we want to honor you, what would Castiel's theme song be? Could sing in your honor. What would your theme song be as Castiel?
Castiel's theme song would be Rachmaninoff's Vespers, which, by the way, would be a fucking hit at karaoke. It would be amazing. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry.
Don't apologize. You haven't done anything wrong yet.
I'm just really nervous.
You can do it!
I really want to know how you deal with like all these emotional fangirls and everything.
Oh my God, it's so good to like just pour my heart out right now. They're the worst. Is that your question? No, don't apologize. You haven't, well. I'm really bad at it, to be honest with you. I've had conversations with psychologists about this very question, like, how can I be at once supportive and a good person, and on the other hand, like, process things? Because, you know, we have these very intense, brief, personal interactions with people who know us a little bit, but we don't necessarily know them very well. And that's kind of a strange dynamic to be in with people. And I vacillate between having it feel like deeply connected and loving, and being totally freaked out by it. And it really does change. Like there was a moment earlier when I was doing photos when I just felt like each hug I was giving people was really conveying something about like humanity. I don't know, you know, I was just like, this is lovely, just to have this brief connection with all of these people. And then sometimes, you know, there are a lot of people in here, over 20 people in this room. And when you have that many people in one place, you're going to have people who have traumas, or who have recently lost loved ones, or who are struggling with a sickness or a difficulty in their lives. And people will often share those with us. And sometimes it's an incredibly intense thing to process in a brief period of time. And sometimes I feel incredibly ill-equipped to do it. And I become tongue-tied like I am right now, and I don't quite know what to say. And I don't ever want to like put up a barrier and say like, don't talk about that stuff with me. But I also don't necessarily know what the best way to respond is in this brief moment. Like we have these little transactional moments, and sometimes they're intensely emotionally charged. And it's not something that they train you for in acting class. Nor does anyone train you for it. It's just something that you sort of find yourself in this strange situation where, you know, people are, you know, intensely trying to connect with you. Sometimes, you know, trying to take a photo of you while you're peeing in the bathroom. And by the way, to the man who tried to take a photo in the bathroom earlier today, I wasn't talking about you. You were being very respectful. There was a moment when someone did take at a convention, did take a photo of me urinating, and I was so shell-shocked, like the flash went off and it made the sound, and I think he was hoping that both of those things wouldn't happen, but it definitely, it was like, and I was like, and I was so stunned, and then he like ran out, and it was a very crowded convention, and I was like, man, camera, I'll flash. And then it was like a manhunt, because I couldn't, like, I never really got a good look at him. But I knew that there was a photo of my junk now running around the convention. And he had to be found. Because I don't want to make everybody else feel self-conscious about what they have, you know. But I digress. Thank you for your question. Sorry for being so earnest. It won't happen again. Do you have more to say?
Thank you, Misha.
What did you say?
Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on, I have to Google myself briefly. I'm looking at some of the questions from the internet people. Do I ever babysit any of my cast members' kids? I will tell you this. No. No. But I would, but they wouldn't let me. We were in Rome many years ago for a convention. I think West was 2, and we went out to a big fancy dinner, the whole cast, and Jared and Jensen did not yet have children, and we had been very careful about introducing West to junk food. And when I wasn't looking, Jared took the white sugar packets out of the little coffee dispenser thing and just poured them into West's mouth, like, ah! And then I subsequently brought West to a convention a few years later, and a fan brought Jared. Jared is a fan of gummy bears, which is obviously a health food. And they brought this giant gummy bear that was about this big and not made of the same material that normal gummy bears are made of. This was pure toxins. And he was like, West, come here. And again, I was busy taking photos. I turned around and West had like bitten the face off of this monster gummy bear, and like I could see spirals in his eyes. He was shaking. So I would say that I would definitely like Jared to babysit my kids, for sure. I would feel super safe with that. That wasn't your question, that was the internet's question. There was another, I'll answer one more from the internet. What do I currently have in my pockets? A banana. I don't know, I don't want to find out. This could be very embarrassing. I have a note that someone wrote me on Post-its. I have 10 hits of ecstasy. My wallet. That's it. Well, it was nothing embarrassing. Okay, back to regular programming. Whose turn is it? Is it yours? Hi.
Hi, Misha. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I have a question. It's for my friend. She saw you, Jennifer saw you in Denver, and she wanted me to ask this question for you.
Okay.
She wants to know what book have you read that you would like to see turned into a movie, and if you would like to star in it, what role would you like?
What book have I read that I would like to see turned into a movie? And what was the, and then who would I like to
And
play?
then if you would like to star in a movie, what role would you like?
Oh, that is a great question. I don't know. Green eggs and ham and the goat. The goat. I don't know, I'll have to think about that. What, do you have any ideas for me?
I know a lot of books. It just depends. The Night Circus is a good book.
The Night Circus? What's that about?
It's about a bunch. It's not like the circus about people who have a lot of different
So
magical
it's
powers.
badly named.
Well, it's a circus, but they have powers and they're able to do things like almost like transfiguration in a way. It's really cool. I think you'd be good as the lead guy.
Oh, really?
Don't ask his name because I can't remember, but I think you would fit perfectly.
That's very exciting. Thank you for the casting opportunity. I don't know, I might like to do some John McPhee book. He wrote a book on geology that was very good. It could be riveting. It would take a long time to watch, possibly in the hundreds of millions of years range, but it was very good. Okay, all right. I would play The Rock, obviously, in that one. Oh, no, Dwayne Johnson should probably play that. I'll think about it. I feel like I sort of let you down. I didn't have a good answer to that question, but, nobody's perfect, so. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Brittany. This is my daughter, Kinsley. I'm going to ask a question for her. She's nervous.
Okay.
She wants to know, what is your favorite season for Castiel's character and why?
My favorite season for Castiel? I really liked him in season 3. He was just so badass at that point. They did cut all of his scenes, but because it overshadowed the other characters. Did your mother fairly represent you with that question? Is that really the question you wanted, or did she sort of mess it up? Yes, she messed it up? No? Okay. Now neither of you are talking into the microphone, so it's making for a very awkward conversation. I'm sorry, what is your name? Younger person?
Kinsley.
Kinsley. Hi, Kinsley. But that wasn't so bad. You're a pretty good public speaker, actually. Have you ever talked in front of people, like at school or, yes? And it's fine, right? Everything works out. I mean, you probably only have nightmares for a few weeks afterwards. Do you have a favorite season of the character? Yes, she does.
12.
Season 12, recently. Why? Why do you like that season? You see what I'm doing to you? I'll answer your question. I think I liked season 4 when he became human.
Season 9.
9?
Yeah. Season 9.
It was that late that he became human?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I would have placed it a few years earlier than that. I haven't watched the show in a while, so. When I first started doing the panels like this and getting up, and I don't know why they call it a panel, because it's just one person, but I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. They're gonna ask me questions about the show, and I've never watched it. But now I feel okay with my role in this dynamic, which is to have no idea what's going on at any time. But season 9, huh? Yeah, I like season 9. Oh, she's gone. What happened? Bye. Nice talking to you. Oh, you're actually leaving. Like you're done. Oh no, you're just going to your seat over there. Sorry for putting you on the spot. Yes, hi.
Hi, Misha. I have a question about parenting. Is there a recent interaction with your kids where you felt like it went well, or you did well that does not involve children feces?
Wait. Sorry, how did that question end? That again?
I wonder if there's a recent experience with your kids that you feel like went well, or that you did well in that interaction as a parent that did not involve children feces.
Okay, so you want a non-scatological story here.
Right.
Okay. I don't have very many of those. I think so. You know, somebody just told me an interesting statistic that's not a statistic. It's just a fact. So the number one determining factor for success later in life, like if you have children and you send them to lots of camps and teach them to play cello at a young age and train them to be great athletes, all of those things actually don't determine whether that child ends up being successful. There's no real correlation between all of that work and having a successful child later in life. But if you demonstrate love to your children, that does. That's the biggest contributing factor. Someone told me this. This is completely unsubstantiated by anything other than somebody in a kitchen being like, hey, did you know this? And I'm telling it to you as if it's a fact. That's how fake news gets spread, people. But I liked the sentiment of it, and so I'm sharing it. So we were lying in bed, reading bedtime stories, Mason on one side, Wes on the other side. And I said, I love you guys so much. I want you to never grow up. I want you to stay my little kids forever. And Mason said, no, we are going to grow up. And I said, no, I want you to stay my little kids forever and ever, and I want you to never grow up. And Mason said, no, we are going to grow up. And I said, no, you are not going to grow up. I want you to stay my little kids forever and ever. And Mason said, no, we are going to grow up, man. We're going to get old and we're going to die. And I just thought that was so sweet. Okay. We were lying in bed another time, and I said, I love you to the moon and back. And Mason said, I love you to the stars and back. And Wes said, I love you to infinity and back. And Mason said, what is infinity? And Wes said, infinity is just something that goes on and on forever. And then Mason said, so is this infinite? And Wes said, actually, yes. This very moment is infinity. Isn't that cool? That was not a demonstration of good parenting, but it was a way to show how spiritually advanced my children are. Hi.
First I wanted to thank you for all of your inspiration through Max, and to tell you that you inspired me to take in a family that was homeless.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for doing that for a family. That's incredibly kind of you.
But my question is, would you ever consider consider running for president since I see all of your tweets?
Would I consider running for president? I am grossly unqualified to be president, but that doesn't seem to stop. It's been a very inspiring couple of years for people because everybody in America is like, shit, I can be president. I can do this. Better than our current president. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for the idea.
A science degree, you're probably quite well qualified.
Yeah.
Judging by your tweets.
Judging by my tweets. Also a good way to gauge your elected officials. Yes, we are definitely witnessing the fall of an empire. Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. So my question is, what is your spirit animal? And the reason I ask is because my 6-year-old daughter thinks she's a cat, and so she likes
Thinks that she is a cat?
Yes, and when I when I fuss at her, she hisses.
Were you gonna say when I punch her?
Yes.
Okay. So I am no parenting expert. But do you aim for the head, or like what's your strategy?
Whatever I can get to first.
Yeah, that's good. Good mom.
She will hiss at me.
She will?
Yes.
So in other words, you have so traumatized your child that she now reverts into an animal state and is nonverbal.
Right, pretty much.
You're doing something right.
Thank you. I can pass you on some pointers.
So just sidebar, try not to punch your kids. Spirit animal, I mean probably unicorn, I would say. She thinks she's a cat, huh?
Yes, she really does. She wears, she's in first grade and she wears cat ears, headbands to school every single day. Like
Oh, really?
She will not go to school without, and she has several pairs. And she is a girl, so she has to match.
Are they like furry ears?
Some are
That probably
furry,
helps
some
protect her
glittery.
from the fist when it comes in.
It's that padding. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why she wears the tail sometimes too.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay. I'm going to tell one more, since you are prying, I'm going to tell one more story about my daughter. Mason does not think she's a cat, nor do I beat her very often. But she does have an imaginary friend named Bobby. And Mason is very sweet. Bobby, by the way, is a girl. She's fine. And Bobby, Mason came and reported to me, Dad, Bobby said a bad word. What? Yes, Bobby said a bad word. What? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Talk into the microphone, I can't hear you. Mason said, Bobby said a bad word. Was that so hard? Open your fucking ears. So Bobby said a bad word, and I said, well, no. What did Bobby say? Mason said, Bobby said, fuck. So I choked her and I killed her. So she may have learned it from you.
Well, she's not murdered anybody yet, so I think I'm still doing
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. I'm sorry, by the way, for swearing. I don't know what happened there. Especially at you, that section of the audience. I take it back. You're lovely people. You're just... Are we okay now?
People have paid for you to swear at them.
People have paid for me to swear at them? I love that idea. And now we've added a new premium package, the parading package. It's the double platinum ticket, where Misha will yell at you and then urinate on you.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
The golden shower package?
So, with the new Bill and Ted movie coming out,
Oh, right! It's a big deal.
I was wondering, who would you like to meet from history?
From history, who would I like to be? Other than Keanu Reeves? What? You're just saying the word meat to me over and over. Meat. There's a woman in the front row just like meat. Meat. Like it's some creepy fetish mantra. Meat. Okay, so who in history would I like to meet?
M-E-E-T.
And what?
All right, let me give you an easier question.
Thank you.
This is my first Supernatural Con, and
Oh, how is it going so far?
it's
No,
amazing.
You can be
It's
honest.
overwhelming.
You can be honest.
Yeah, well,
Be totally
there's
honest.
a lot of positivity.
What's your least favorite part about it?
The wait times in the restaurant, but that's okay. I understand.
The wait time at the restaurant? That's not my
what
fault.
I wanted to know.
Yes. What's your favorite part about it? Can't think of anything.
What
else.
I wanted to know
Yeah.
was, you see fandoms like Doctor Who and Star Trek, and 20 years from now,
Yeah.
what do you see about this fandom? What would you like to see?
Well, what would I like to see in this fandom 20 years from now? Well, thanks to Rachel, we do have wheelchair access, which is, I think, going to be coming in handy for more and more of the cast as time goes by. I would like to see... We now have known each other for a long time. Most of the people that you see up on stage here over the course of the weekend have been friends and co-workers for a decade, some of us a little more than that. And we've gotten to watch one another go through major life changes, having families, having separations, having maturing. Like Jared was he was a child, and now he's an adolescent. And knowing a group of people like that, who we've really bonded together, like we've become really close and we love each other, and it's really one of the best parts about this job is being able to come together with a group of people whom we all like, where we all feel like we're doing something kind of cool together. And I would hope that we're all still together, and that the game 20 years from now is still cohesive and if not vibrant, alive. We've had some like really scary moments. We've had strokes and what's that? So who's calling? Someone's calling or something. You can answer. It's fine. Just answer it. It's fine. It's fine. We'll wait. We'll wait. Have your call. So yeah, I actually do. I do hope that we all get to grow old together, and I think that I am already there, but the others are catching up, and soon we will all be old together, and that will be lovely. It's a very interesting thing, because as an actor, you expect to go into a job and work for a few weeks, or a few months, or if you're lucky, a couple of years, maybe 5, but never for decades plus. And to be able to be a part of something that lasts for that long is quite remarkable and unusual. And it means that this has been the biggest chunk of my professional life and a very big portion of my adult life spent on this show. And if it keeps going, I won't know anything but Supernatural. We'll become this weird little cloistered cult where the people that get up on stage have no idea what happened in the show, but they talk about it anyway. It's sort of like our president. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good. So has there ever been like? Has there ever been like an episode or a scene that's ever been like emotionally trying or hard for you to do or act out?
Well, all of the scenes are hard for me to act out.
Emotionally wise.
What's that?
Emotionally wise.
Emotionally, there was a scene. You know what was interesting? We did a scene where I was Jimmy. And it was after Jimmy had died. So Jimmy, for those of you who haven't watched the show, Jimmy is the accountant who Castiel, the vessel, thank you. The human vessel that Castiel took over. And Jimmy died, we now know that. It's canon on the show. And Jimmy came back from heaven to talk to his wife. And that was weirdly a very emotional scene for me. It was like, and it was also interesting because I had played Castiel at that point for several years in a row, and I actually hadn't played another character. And I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot how to act also. That's the other thing about working on this for so long. I'm ruined. And I will never be able to do anything else because I've been brain damaged by the process of playing Castiel for so long. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I'm freaking out. You ever sign up for those things and you're like, yes, I want to win, and you get there and you're like, I don't want to win.
Why did I do this? Yes, that's me right now.
I'm like, what do I say? But then earlier when you were talking about whenever you were trying to do that role and the guys kept messing with you under the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought you said Jared had a boob, not a boob.
I have not ever publicly disclosed that.
So,
as far as you know, he does not.
Just as a whole, how do you think we as Supernatural fans can kind of make a difference? You know, there's kind of so much negative things that are going on outside of us, and you know, what can we do to make a change?
First, I would say kill as many demons as you can. Well, I mean, I could go on and on about this. I mean, I think that this fandom has become so vibrant and such a powerful cult for a lot of different reasons. One, the show has been on for so long that people have literally watched this show since they were children and have grown up with the characters, and they've watched us grow old. But also this fandom has taken to kind of taking care of one another. So I definitely think that this is an unusual brew here, where people they seem to, within this community, go out of their way to be kind to one another and to protect one another. And that's something that people they feel safe in, unlike me on set. And I think that's lovely, and I think that that's a lovely incubator for doing good in the broader world. You know, we have like the crisis support network that we set up, where anybody who's suffering from severe depression or other mental health issues can come in and chat, and we've trained now members of this community to be moderators in these chats and help people. There are people who've spent hundreds of hours as moderators now, doing really amazing work, really helping other people in the community. So this is a place, it's a community where people are being kind to one another and being supportive of one another, and where people feel like, I think, they could be weird. I mean, I think that one of the things that I love about this fandom is that it seems to attract people who are misfits in the larger world. Like, you guys are basically weirdos. And yet you coalesce around this strange show, and you all feel like you belong in this community. And that's really remarkable. And it feels like, this is a good community for me, because I consider myself a weirdo as well. But I've noticed, and we've done a lot of projects with Random Acts, like, building an orphanage or a high school in Nicaragua, like things that this fandom comes together to do for the outside world that are really quite remarkable and kind of powerful. And I don't know, the only other thing that I would mention at this particular juncture is, I think as a fandom, we could rally around the other idea of building better civic engagement in the world at large and amongst ourselves. So making sure that we as members of this community get out and vote, read real news, get our friends and families engaged and informed. At this juncture, I think that's important, because I think people need to be paying attention to what's going on in the world in order to affect any positive change in the world. And Rich and I set up a voter registration table with the help of some really awesome volunteers, which is here at the event. So if you want to just go register to vote, or tell your friends to go register to vote, or even see how you can, when you leave here, get people to register to vote, and then remind people to vote when the time comes. That would be helpful. That's one thing, one concrete to-do item for you. Thanks for asking.
Hey, let me ask a follow-up question on that. So I saw for your birthday, I saw because I'm in the video, that you posted a video about people for your birthday. You wanted 44,000 people to promise to vote, to click on the button saying, I pledge to vote come election time. Where's the count? How are you doing on that?
We're a little bit above 30,000 at this point, I think. So we're not there, and I'm super disappointed.
Right, so people have failed you. Okay.
Yeah. But if anybody wants to go pledge to vote, just click the button. Pledging is a weird thing, because we, generally speaking, we like to keep our promises, and when someone makes a pledge, believe it or not, they tend to actually do the thing that they promised to do. So, pledge to vote. That's how we start.
So register to vote here. Give Misha what he wants for his birthday. Pledge to vote. Get it, Dave.
Love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Tower.